Okay, this is take two.
I had to get snacks. That's how I'm getting
This
through
is
this.
okay. This is take. I forgot to push the button. This is what happens when you're long distance. I didn't look. The red light wasn't on.
You didn't even hit record.
I didn't hit record. We did the whole video.
That was a 40-minute video.
We did the whole. I'm tired. Welcome back to Talking Story. My name is John Minton. That is an unhappy Jacob Minton.
I'm okay.
I'm fine. He's not happy. He is not happy. We're gonna do this again because it's August and we gotta go through everything that we read in the month of July. I don't care how many takes it takes. We're gonna cover everything.
Well, hold on now. I care. This better be the one.
I see a red light. I'm going to the light.
Great.
I'm going to the light. We're gonna start off right away. Hey, the Patreon read this month was Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. So you know right away that there's a runner-up. That not a runner-up, there's a runner in the race for Read of the Month.
I know everything. I got a preview.
Look, stop it.
I'm not saying anything.
Just take that out and just erase it. Just
I
erase
can't.
it.
It was the past 40 minutes.
Look, we're absolutely fresh as daisies. We're ready to go and talk about all of these. That never happened.
Well, what'd you think of it?
I love this book. Let me tell you something. It becomes so apparent to me with this one. This is the first standalone after the first trilogy, the first Law trilogy, and it becomes so apparent to me here that this is one long story. This is not a trilogy, three standalones, a trilogy. This is a story of a world and the people that have made an impact in that world. I really felt in the first trilogy like he was kind of, I'm going to take all the things that I've loved as a fantasy fan and I'm going to put them in here and I'm going to put my top spin onto it. I'm going to make it mine and so show what, if I was doing this is the way I would do it. And it's so much fun. It's such a great time. With this first standalone, he's building off of that so much. So I'm seeing less and less influence to Joe Abercrombie, and I'm seeing more and more Joe Abercrombie. He's now just riffing off of his own work. He's now just moving forward into this amazingly three-dimensional and fully realized world that he's created. And he's going forward into this to tell this story. So it was so amazing to see that. And then it was so amazing to you start off with like this kind of simple on its face revenge story, right? Best Served Cold right there in the title. And it starts to become so much more. As you go deeper and deeper into the story and layers upon layers, you start to find what these people mean to their world around them. As this revenge story starts to play out and the ripples move outward from it and start to actually change the world going forward, which we'll see in the next two standalones, I'm guessing. And then finally, everything will come to a huge crescendo in the last trilogy. And I think there's some short stories in there as well. I'll make sure not to miss those too. But you just start to see everything becomes so much more important than the one single person's journey of revenge. What does this cost her? What does it cost her world as she enlists people into this journey? What does the world around them pay for this journey? How will it impact the history of this world? It all becomes mired in itself from one simple little launching point. It becomes something so much larger, so much bigger thematically, as well as the characters, the in-depth look at the cost that they pay and why they went on this journey to begin with, what they'll do to enlist their friends and found family into it and keep them there. It was just a great read. It's just like First Law was. Once you start, every time you unturn a rock and go forward one chapter or two or three, there's so much living underneath that you're not aware of when you just started looking at it from the surface. And that is why Joe Abercrombie is special. That is why this was a great read.
And was it your book of the month?
It's going to be up there, but there's another one knocking on the door that I can't discount.
Well, what's next then? Let's get to it.
I can't discount because that's a tease. I'm teasing you.
I don't like being teased. I don't appreciate
Well, it can't.
that.
We've done all this before, so you definitely can't be teased.
Well, I was trying to play along.
After that, I reach for my indie read of the month. We try and at least do one a month. A little bit different flavor this month. I went for Pete Kramer's very first book, Chesapeake Bay Monsters. We've been doing some epic fantasy series from indie authors and that kind of thing. This was a little bit more of a horror story. This is like, okay, think about if you took Ghostbusters and you kind of mashed it together with that old Ron Howard movie with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks, Splash. You mash that together, you would kind of get this book with maybe some darker themes along the way. This is just a heck of a fun read. I thought the ending got away from him a bit. If I were to nitpick, but I had a great time with this. Think about like 3 or 4 best friends you hang around with all the time, you grew up with, you've known them forever, and you guys stumble upon something. You start to realize, living by the water, Chesapeake Bay, you start to realize there's a whole nother world out there that kind of is encroaching on your world. Kind of a mer people world, if you will, mermaids, if you will, and they can come up onto the surface and interact and do these kind of things for a very specific reason, no spoilers. And while they're up here, they're using this type of glamour. They appear like beautiful women, right? When they get wet, you see what they really are. So, but that glamour, this is at the crux of everything, that glamour they use. If you could maybe bag yourself a mermaid, like Big Game Hunter bagged yourself a mermaid, and you were to extract what allows them to have this glamour to show you what you want to see, oh, you could maybe make some coin in the cosmetic industry. You could maybe have something that would make you look pretty young, pretty dashing, pretty good, pretty handsome, pretty beautiful. And then we're often running for this story. What would you do? Should you trust your friends? Should you go into business with your friends? Should you stay in business with your friends? When you start making a little bit of coin, who will your friends become? How dark will it go for them to keep the ball rolling once they get a little change in their pocket if they've never had that? All these kind of things, along with those 2 fun movies mashed together, is what we have here. And I got to tell you, like I say, the ending I thought got away from a bit, but I'm absolutely going to pick up whatever comes my way from Mr. Pete Kramer next, because for a first outing, a first book, this was a heck of a lot of fun.
I'm still happy seeing all the times that you get excited when you read indie reads. Like, it seems like every month, the one that you pick up, you enjoy.
I don't think. Look, even when an indie writer is, everyone starts their artist journey from ground zero, from square one, right?
Sure.
And maybe they're taking on some themes or doing some heavy lifting with words that maybe their life experience, or maybe their just experience writing they're not quite there yet. For me, in my opinion, they don't quite ring the bell. They don't quite make it. Still, to see them start an artistic journey, to see them reach out for an audience, to see them live their dreams, to see them look at themselves in the mirror and go, I'm going to sit down at the typewriter today, I'm going to find the chair, and I'm going to create, because not to is a lie to myself and who I am. That movement is personal to me, and I find it magical, time and time again.
I agree. It is magical.
So what do we do after that? I picked up Jeff Vandermeer's, still fun to say.
I gotta stop saying his name like that.
Jeff Vandermeer, Annihilation. This was our book club with the missus. I read this. My wife read this. We sat down and talked about it. If you haven't checked out that video and you've read the book, even if you haven't, we try and stay spoiler free, I think, for the most part. Check it out, because this is my first Vandermeer read. I've got a couple authors this month that were completely new to me. And wow, I found maybe a couple new faves. What a craftsman Jeff Vandermeer was, I find. He uses his words. He crafts his sentences in a way that you viscerally feel like you're claustrophobic and you're hacking and slashing your way through this overgrown fecund area of this biological apocalypse as nature is twisted and just overgrown and is taking over this area, and that area is only growing outward more and more and more. So the Southern Reach Corporation is sending in team after team to try and get a hold of this so it doesn't expand beyond what they want it to as far as the boundaries go. And this is such a bizarre place. The boundary of this place to our reality is so startling. These teams have to actually be hypnotized to pass over this boundary. And I just thought he did such an amazing job at putting this bizarre Lovecraftian infected world and the mystery of it front and center. The characters don't even have names for the most part. They're just functionaries. They're functionaries of whatever their team member is as they're pushed through this boundary into this mystery. Except for our one kind of person at the center of this maelstrom, we kind of find out a little bit of her backstory, a little bit why she's there, why she's trying to solve this mystery, why this is hitting her so hard and all this kind of thing. But he does such a great job. The star of this book is the atmosphere and the mystery and this world that is evolving beyond what we can understand at an accelerated rate from an alienness, otherness that has been injected into it. It doesn't answer all the questions. That's what I loved about it. The mystery stays unresolved, and I'm not sure if I want it resolved. I love this so much, I immediately reached out and got the second book in the series. But if he starts answering questions, I think the House of Cards might tumble for me, because I just love the mystery of this, and that being center stage and the big star of it, the world and this mystery. And I just thought he did an amazing job of that.
And you picking up the second one tomorrow?
I mean, I got it. I don't know if I'll be picking it up tomorrow.
Got to read all of it tomorrow.
I absolutely will be continuing.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it, though.
Then it was Big Chonker time.
Oh, man. Look at that one.
It was, look, this is nothing. You see the next one.
That's still a lot.
Let me tell you. So this is our buddy read. We are going through The Bound of the Broken with myself and Dr. Philip Chase from The Best of Fantasy, Christopher Navo from Next Chapter, and Mike from Mike's Book Review also, because he's the driving force that got so many people into this series. So he's hanging out with us, and he's trying to keep a straight face while we guess about what's coming up. And now I'm far enough into the series to I'm going to say right now, a lot of our guesses is way off base.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Which is great. I think Mr. Kyle has surprises in his pockets, and he's going to dole those out to us like sweets. We don't really know what's coming around the corner, which is great. Which is a good thing. So our guesses are definitely, I think, off base a lot of the time. But look. I started this with, someone else who was going to be joining us was Angela from The Unicorns Read. She cannot join us for the discussions. Things are going on with her. We send our best, and we look forward to meeting her in the future. So I started this with The Fall, which is like, you get no hip waders. You are thrown into the deep end of the pool. It is all pace. It is all action. It is a frenetic crumbling of an empire and the ascension of the next empire from those ashes. And you were just thrown into it. The book after that, it kind of slows down. You start to get these comfortable, classic tropes of a chosen one, a farm boy that's going to ascend past his station because destiny's calling, his friends that he's bringing around him to form a family, the unfurling of the lore of the past. What really happened? How is that going to impact their journey today? All these type of classic tropes start to play out. And then by the end of that book, they play out. We pick up some huge frenetic pace and huge set pieces again. And that brings us to this. And I was a bit worried because this just continues that frenetic pace, that frenetic action. It doesn't let you up to breathe for, I would say, the first quarter, the first third of the book possibly, and I wanted to get deeper into character. I wanted to see what these huge events, what these happenings, what did they do to these characters I'm starting to care about? How is it going to shape and mold them going forward? What kind of baggage is that going to make them carry? How are they going to carry it? And he does get, I was a little bit worried at the beginning because, again, it was frenetic. It was not letting up. Then it did. And I absolutely did get that. And not only that, I absolutely did get new characters, new POV characters thrown at me that, it seems like every character that comes at you, it's a new name, a new POV, and it's like, oh, wow, I don't know this person. But then you get sucked in so quickly. Every character has a potential to be your favorite character going forward, which is one of the magical things here. He's just that natural given storyteller that you sit down with him at twilight, you see the flames flickering, a shadow across his face as he unfurls this yarn, and you just stay up way too late listening. You just can't leave because you just got to see what happens next. Again, I think my thrill of this, not only the story, but to see him move along his artist journey and to see how much of a craftsman he becomes with wordsmithing is a joy to see as well as we move into this series. So some always work to do. Every artist knows you're never done. You're always working. I'm not saying I couldn't nitpick. I couldn't find some things if I was actively trying to do so. But it's just a good time. It's just a fun story. Every character seems to hit me just right. I've already started reading the next novella, and it's all about my new favorite character, Dane. I'm telling you, every character I meet, it's like, oh man, I can't wait for that. And then I think the next one that I pick up is like 1,400 pages long.
Oh my God.
So you think that's a chunker?
1,400 is a chunker.
1,400 I might have to get like a hydraulic jack to pick that up.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I might have to use some help getting that up to my eyeballs.
You'll throw your back out making the TBR video.
Right? And then after that, we went in with another author that can crank some pages out. And that is our Cosmere read of the month, Dawn Shard by Mr. Brandon Sanderson. Now, this is one of his shorter ones. Like, he does these little kind of like a short story or a novella sometimes that drop in between some of the big major books that he's doing, putting this whole Cosmere thing together. And this stays in Roshar. We just finished up Oathbringer the month before, so I was happy to stay in Roshar. And this, it just gave you... he gave the stage over to, I'm not even going to say B characters. I'm going to say like maybe some C characters, maybe some B and some C characters from Stormlight Archives, and he let them take center stage. And wow, did they just take the limelight from me. They got huge power-ups. This, for me, along with Secret Histories for Mistborn, this, for me, felt like one of the most consequential little things that dropped between some of the major books. Like, what happens here and where these characters end up from where they started going forward. I don't see how they're not going to be very important players and characters moving forward in the Cosmere, because this just felt really consequential to me. Like, I think I would say if you're like putting a reading list together and you're like, I probably don't need all these short stories or all that. I just want to stick with some. I would say don't miss this one.
Really?
Absolutely
Okay.
Don't. Yeah. I had a great time with it, first of all. And I love the way when he's constructing this Cosmere, we get callbacks, we get reflections and ripples from one world to the other. So much of this while I was reading, it gave me images of Tress of the Emerald Sea. This Cosmere as a whole together, as it's getting more and more shape and form, and I'm seeing more and more of it, I start to realize, there's just so much connective tissue between one world and the other. As one thing happens, it's kind of mirrored over here, and it is absolutely all of a whole. And I think it's quite the achievement by one author to put all of this together. So I really loved some of the feelings I got, the feelings that it evoked in me of other worlds that I have read of the Cosmere from reading this one. That was like a really pleasant extra little dash of fun for me.
You got a few left to go.
I got a few left of the Cosmere. We're getting closer though. After that, I grabbed, this was, again, brand new author for me. I had not read any Adrian Tchaikovsky before. This came out just recently, a couple weeks back, I believe, is when it was released. or a month or so ago, maybe a couple months ago. I don't know. My timeline is all messed up. But Service Model by Adrian Jakob just dropped not long ago. And it's like, okay, this is not in the middle of or starting some huge series. I don't think. It's not a massive book. I think I could just give him a try. This would be a great sample for me to see like kind of what he does. And I had always heard that he's known for his concepts and ideas and it's just world building, sprawling ideas of science fiction, otherness that really feels other and alien, that kind of thing. And it's like, what I was not quite ready for was he's quite a wordsmith. He's really able to put together something that's very poetic and really struck me to my core. And while I was reading this, I was really struck from memories of reading like of Mice and Men, or Grapes and Wrath. Like this is a little service model robot thrust across the landscape of the apocalypse. And just like those other great classics, it's like he's trying to get across a world that he no longer recognizes because of what's happened and what's shaped this landscape. And he's trying to identify and define himself through searching for his own livelihood, which again evoked those qualities of those other reads for me. And it was just distilled into this science fiction apocalyptic vision that I just thought rang so true for me. And the other part of it that just absolutely, just for me, it's like if there was a bullseye painted on me that would strike my heart and my soul, just like boom, right there, it just asks these big questions. How much of ourselves are we really willing to give up? We all walk around with a supercomputer now in our pocket. What are you not seeing that makes you take that without question? How much of your self, how much of your job satisfaction are you willing to hang on getting a good Google review now? How much are you willing to give up of yourself and who you are as an individual and follow the bureaucracy if they just make things easily digestible for you? Just the status quo and day after day can just come at you in this mind-numbing way that makes you not question things, and then you just put one foot in front of the other and you keep going through your life until the next thing you know, you've lost a little bit of yourself. You've lost a little bit of your humanity, your individuality, something that made you specifically you in this world that sometimes seems so large. All of these things just keep coming at you in this book over and over again. Our military industrial complex, our bureaucracy, our judicial system, all these things fall under the lens in this book and make you question things and make you question your place in a world with all these things. And for me, it just rung every bell. It just hit me just right, all in a beautiful package sometimes of poetic language describing this apocalyptic landscape around you. And this, absolutely a 5-star read for me. Absolutely in the running for Book of the Month.
And this was one that people said wasn't his best, right?
I've heard mixed things, like, oh, he's not at the top of his game here. This is just something quick he wanted to get out, maybe, or but I don't know. For me, I can't compare it to any of his other work, but this just personally, this just really hit for me.
Sorry, I was yawning. I can't wait for you to get to his next stuff then.
Me too. I know. I think Alien Clay is another one that's kind of like maybe a little standalone or something. I got my eyes on that. I got my eyes on that next. Maybe out there, let me know. Where should I go next? What should I pick up next? If I want just like a standalone and not get in the middle of another big series. And I tell you what, you know who's really great at giving us advice like that is these amazing humans right here.
They are.
They do a great job. These are the people that have decided that they are able and interested in helping us build this channel. They help us make decisions. They help us keep the lights on. They do so much here, all the way up to taking over this channel once a month and getting their content right on this channel. If you are able and that interests you, you can click the link right down there in the description box, the Patreon link, and find out all about it. If you're not able, it's absolutely not required whatsoever. You can support this channel in so many ways, and we'll cover that down the road. There's really easy ways that you won't even notice and allow you to support this channel in huge, huge ways.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, so hey, I still read more.
Of course you did.
I still read more.
I don't know how.
Hey, big friend of the channel, Josh, sent me What was the name of the first book? Okay.
I am not a serial killer.
I am not a serial killer. Yeah. So he sent me that book, and it's like, oh, sure, I'll give this a try by Dan Wells. And I read it, and it's like, oh, what an interesting anti-hero we have here. Young man, his mom and aunt work in the mortuary in town, and he's set up this set of rules for himself so he doesn't slide into the trap of becoming a serial killer, because he knows he's a diagnosed sociopath. He knows he's starting to have these urges that he can't tamp down. I would love to start a fire. Oh, I would love to, dark things, horrible things. Trigger warnings galore in this series. Absolutely. So he has a set of rules for himself so he doesn't start to fall into a trap of becoming a serial killer like the ones he tends to idolize, right? And study and look at. So that first book, as a serial killer comes to his town, all those rules start to fall by the wayside as he's pulled into the case, because he's working with his mom in the mortuary and he's seeing these clues and he's putting things together, and he's starting to realize there's a big supernatural thread that runs through this. So book 2, there's so many bills that from dropping these rules, from doing what he feels like he has to do in book 1 against this supernatural threat. All these bills come due. He's got some bills to pay by book 2. So book 2 just goes further and examines all of that. The world starts to get larger, not just this little town that he's in, but what's on the outside coming in from what happened in book 1. How will that impact him? How will that impact him as he's trying to put these rules into place? It works on so many layers. His inner journey of trying to keep himself from falling into these traps and these urges at bay. At the same time, the world's getting bigger and this threat's getting larger. Those two things are going to come into conflict, and everything comes due in this second book. It's an anti-hero I can't stop rooting for. I'm cringing when he's doing some things. Like he gets to some points like, oh no, John, don't do that. Don't do that. And he can't stop himself. He can't help it here in book 2, Mr. Monster by Dan Wells. But I still got to root for him. I still keep rooting for him. I can't stop it. So look, I'm absolutely going to be continuing this series.
This one I actually want to pick up.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to bring you book 1. I'm coming over tonight. And first, I'm going to address those shelves that they need some help.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're fine.
I'm going to give them some love. I'm going to zhuzh them up.
However they look in the next video, judge him.
Yeah, sure. I'll take that.
Okay.
They're going to look better now. I bet it takes me 15 seconds.
I'll time you.
And I'll
take a video and put it on Twitter because I'm positive it'll take longer than that.
I'm gonna bring you book 1.
Okay. I will be happy to have it.
I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells, so you can give it a try and see what you think. So
Sounds great.
Look, I had a little bit of time in the month left.
I don't know how.
I don't know how either, but I just did. So I'm really interested. I've always been a fan of China Mieville. I really like Perdido Station. I really like The Scar. I think he's had some of the most amazing examinations of otherness since Franz Kafka with those books. And when I heard he's going to be writing a book with Keanu Reeves based on the comic that Keanu created at Boom Studios, I was like, oh, I got to check this out. But being a comics fan, I got to go back to the beginning. I just can't grab the book. I got to check out the comic. So I went and I bought the first collection, which collects the first 4 issues by Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent, art by Ron Garney. And I blew through those so much that I bought the next 2. And I blew through all 3 of these. So I have ordered the next 2. I think they're called Berserker Bloodlines. These first 3 are just called Berserker, Volume 1, 2, and 3. And this is that story of that immortal warrior that has done nothing but fight for one side or the other for thousands of years. And after all this time, after all these battles won and lost and loves lost, he wants one thing. He just wants to be able to stop. He just wants to be able to rest. He just wants to be able to break this curse or this gift of immortality and die. So the United States government believes through scientific experimentation, they can get him to this point where he can shred and leave behind his immortality if he will fight for them in some black ops situations, right? So it's kind of like a quid pro quo situation. But who's really in charge of this clandestine part of the government that's sending them on these missions? What do they really have in mind? Then it gets into even some deeper themes of where do we come from? What is our purpose? How do we answer these questions? How do we touch the divine and start to realize the answer to these questions? What's required of us to do that? So faith and love and all these kind of things start to come into question here. And I had just a wonderful time. Now, I'm not going to put this up at the tippy top of comic reads for me. There's kind of a difference. Like, comics are really special for me when they really work the way they're supposed to work. It's such a collaborative art form where you have writers and artists and inkers and letterers and editors, and they all put something together. And as you go from one static image to the other, if it's done to the epitome, to the nth level, to the uppity level, it starts to unspool before you like an IMAX film. You don't have static levels. Your brain starts to put these images together, and you start to get a story that just moves in front of you, kind of like the shadows on the walls of Plato's cave. And they just start to give you this amazing thing between words and moving pictures. It's just this amazing thing that your brain fills in all the holes. Now, this doesn't quite do this. This kind of gets to a point, but as they try and go from big moment to big moment to big set piece to big set piece, I kind of got more of an old clunky, old-fashioned zoetrope situation where I'm seeing a stutter and I'm seeing some lights flicker between these images. They don't really kind of sync and just unspool together like an amazing mental film. There was a bit of a stutter because I don't think this is what I would put at some of the tippy top of comics that I've read, but absolutely a great fun time. I'm absolutely going to continue and get all the comic backstory, and then I will be picking up the novel that is written by Mr. China Mieville and Keanu Reeves about the character of B, and then I will have the whole story. And I look forward to that.
Man, you got way into it.
Yeah, it's real. It's well worth getting into. And you know, if you've never done comics before and you're a fan of China Mieville, maybe this is the time to start. Maybe go to your local comic shop, like Google it, find out where it is. Go down to your local comic shop. Go to Amazon. You can order these at Amazon. Get in the first one. Kind of see. You know what? I'm just going to get the comic backstory before I just pick up the novel. I'm going to see how it hits me. Maybe it's a time to try them.
Sounds great to me.
So hey, I still had time.
How'd you manage
I
that?
still had time. So look, we've been working our way through Stephen King's new collection, kind of in between other reads. You Like It Darker, and he knows I do. I think this was just to me.
I don't think it was to you.
I think Mr. King knows I like it darker, and I think this title, he had me in mind.
I don't think he's writing messages to John at Talking Story.
I'm pretty sure this is a message in a bottle to John on Talking Story who likes it darker.
Is that one signed?
No.
It's not a message.
Look, there's a bit of conjecture, but I still think that's exactly what's happening because he knows I like it darker. So I was able to read this month Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream, which is one of the longer ones, about a couple hundred pages long. Also, I read Finn and On Slide In Road, which is a nice little love letter to Flannery O'Connor that he has in here. And then I also read Red Screen. So I was able to get through 4 more of these short stories. And look, I come to realize if you like it, what these characters, you like it darker, when he does darker, it's people having a really bad day. All these characters are having a really bad time of it.
That would have been a really great title for the book. Just, I'm having a really bad day.
Yeah, the characters having a really bad day. That's what this is. And it's Stephen King characters. It's characters you know that you meet on the street. They're in your family. They're you when you look at yourself in the mirror. They're Mr. King because he distills so much of himself and puts it into his words and letters when he writes. That's what makes these characters so real, so human, so touchable, so understandable. Is because they're just so real. So when you start to see things crumble around them, it's just a ride just a descent, just a ride through the dark places that is so fun to take because these characters are just so easy to grab a hold of and understand and commiserate with. And this is like, if you've been a holdout, I'm not going to say this is one of his great collections. I'm not putting this up there with like, you know, Different Seasons, which I think is one of his best of 4 novellas, but or Night Shift. But this is a very, very strong collection. I mean, I'll hold out saying how strong it is until I finish the whole thing. We're a little over halfway now, but this is, I mean, you go pick this up. This is a lot of fun.
I'll pick it. You can pick that up and add it to my shelf. How about that?
I'm not just going to fill your shelves.
I think you should.
I'm going to bring you one book to try, and I'm going to hound you if you have not tried it.
That sounds right.
Yeah, you know who I am.
I know exactly who you are.
Okay, I had a little bit of time left. And this was supposed to be my first read in August. My brother from the North, Brian, over at BellTube, we're going to get together. We're going to talk about heroes, what heroes mean to us, where we started our journey of following heroes. We're both comic fans, I know. And he sent me this, Richard Kadri's Sandman Slim. This is the first in that series of an anti-hero that he really likes. I sent him Patient Zero, which is the first book in the Joe Ledger series. So we were going to each read a series of a hero that we each like, and then we're going to get together and talk about it. So that'll be coming up very soon. So I thought, you know what? It's my first read in August. I'll jump the gun a little bit. I'll get a little bit into it because I got a lot in August. So maybe I'll just I'll start a few days early. Well, how fun was this? I just blew through the whole thing.
In what, 10 minutes?
That's how fun that was. It was a bit more than 10 minutes. But I could not put this down. Look, I don't know how far I was into this when I immediately looked up whatever book 2 was and put it on my wish list. This is just so cool. Look, Mr. Kadri is mining so much of the Judeo-Christian holy text. He's pulling certain things out of it. He's trying to say, what if these things were obviously not great pillars of faith, but tangential, concrete things of our world, this battle between heaven and hell, this ongoing thing, and what's in between, what's happening if that battle were to be raging right here, and the only human that has ever descended and come and escaped hell, this hitman, Mr. Stark, is just embroiled in all the middle of it. What would that really be like? What would that really look like through the lens of putting it in Hollywood? This place where it's just all about movie stars and plastic surgery and how much money you got in your pocket and what you're driving. Like, let's put all that together and mix it up. And what do you got? You got something so fun. I think he tried to put there's so much going on in here. About 2/3 of the way in, coming up to the ending, I thought maybe got a little bit unwieldy for him. Maybe too many irons in the fire. It started off as a pretty simple revenge story. I thought it maybe got a little bit confusing, a little bit away from him. For me, just for me. But did it all come together by the end in this huge, vicious crescendo. It was just so much fun. I absolutely will be continuing. What a great anti-hero. And by the end of this, what an amazing introductory to a world where all this is concrete and happening and going on, and what a great found family that is starting to be built. And I think the main character here of Sandman Slim, Mr. Stark, I think you're going to get more and more in love with him and more all in with him as this found family starts to evolve around him, and as they see him and define him in their eyes, he's going to become more real in our eyes. We'll be more all in on his journey, kind of just the way Jim Butcher does with the Dresden Files, I think is going to happen here as this goes forward and these relationships go deeper and these bonds start to grow even firmer and deeper. So I think that I have that to look forward to, which I love that kind of stuff as well. So this was just, I got to thank Brian so much he knows what I like. Brian knows what I like, and I have to thank him for sending me this, because this was just, look, I love to go to every Marvel movie. I get me a big box of Jujubes. I get me a big old tub of buttered popcorn. This is that. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of read sometimes. Nothing wrong with a summer blockbuster read. You just sit down. Hopefully, I didn't go week one and the seat's empty in front of me and I can put my feet up and I can just be transported and I can just see something fantastic. This is that kind of read. It's all fun all the time. And thank you so much, Brian, for sending it my way.
Brian knows you so well.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Well, you two have very similar tastes, I think.
Yeah, I think we're brothers. I really do. So, okay, so here we go. Yeah, I gotta get this just right. This was July.
Oh God.
This was July. It's what a mess. Okay, we got some comics in. It's been a while since we got comics in. I was very happy about this. So, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna say? Look, discovered possibly a new favorite author. This just hit me personally on so many levels of things that are important to me. And we got back to somebody that I already thought was enormously special in the genre that we all know and love, Mr. Joe Abercrombie. So we've got Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky. We've got Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. These two, for me, head to head for favorite read of the month. I know I've angsted in the past, and I got Bubble Guts and Ajita trying to decide. As much as I enjoyed and loved this, absolutely did, I would probably say, I'd have to look back at my list, but this might be my favorite published in 2024 so far. I would have to look back at the list, but it would definitely be up there, but I gotta go with this for favorite of the read. Look, this dude is just special. The way he can do character voice like no one can do character voice. You are chuckling out loud at some of the banter in some of the most bleakest, darkest moments of this world. It will make you question your own moral center because it happens to you. He just has that ability. Each character has their own way of speaking, their own patter, their own vocabulary, their own vernacular. You know exactly who's talking before he even puts the name next to the sentence. You just hear it. You just know it. He's just a special, special storyteller. He can do voice like nobody else. And you combine that with this massive oeuvre that he's doing, moving forward from the homage element that was the first trilogy into just him feeling, as his artist journey goes forward, I'm building on my own work. My own work is now becoming more important and to the fore as opposed to what my homage was or what my inspirations were, where I sprang from. My own work becomes more important. I think that's such an enormous step for an artist to take that I start to see it in this first of the three standalones. So this was, I can't pick anything else but Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie for my read of July.
And getting adapted at some point, right?
Oh, and he wrote the screenplay.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That's what gives me hope. That's what gives me hope. So, yeah, I want the whole thing. I want this whole 9-book story. But if they're going to start here, I'll take it. I will absolutely be there to buy a ticket for that. I hope he gets it done. And he has an all-new book coming next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dude's been busy.
Yeah. Dude's busy. Dude's a busy guy. So, hey, what was your read of the month? What do you think of my read of the month? Love comments here. Whole reason we started this channel was to talk to people that love books the way we love books, love the kind of books we love. Hit me up with what was your favorite this month. I'm going to answer as quickly as humanly possible. The whole reason we started this was for comments. And hey, while you're down there, maybe hit that thumbs up button. Look, people think, oh, come on, it's just that goofy little thumbs up button. It does so much here. What a great way to support the channel, and it's so easy to do. You'll think nothing of it, and you help us find new people. You help us grow. You help us do so much. What a great supportive thing you can do for us there. And while you're down there, maybe this is your first time here, and you thought, hey, I just want to see what this doofus read in the month of July. this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. Hang out with us and talk books again, because that is just what an enormous way to help support us. And it's so easy. Boop. It takes no time. It's done. You're finished. And let me tell you something. Gives you a tingle.
Don't say tingle. Don't do
You
that.
feel good. You
No,
feel
don't.
good.
You feel good, but no tingle. There's no tingle.
Okay, look, big supporter, friend of the channel, Chance. I found his channel this week. I can't believe I hadn't subscribed yet. I pushed that button, and it was my favorite ice cream flavor on a summer's day. It was that type of, ooh, yeah,
There
that's
we go.
the stuff.
Say that.
That's the stuff.
Don't say tingle. Just say that.
With my favorite ice cream flavor on a summer's day?
Yes. That's so much
Everyone
sweeter.
knows that gives you a tingle.
No, there's no tingle.
And
What kind of ice cream are you eating?
Everyone, the right kind.
Something's wrong with your tongue.
Yeah, that is a very special Ben and Jerry flavor. Caramel ribbon tingle.
That does not exist. The chance will be down below, though, if you want to subscribe to him.
Yeah,
Please do.
what a great channel.
He's
You
awesome.
will see. You will see when you hit that button the way I did for Chance this week that you will feel a tingle. Hey, that is it for our month. On into August. We have some great reads lined up for August. Hang out with us some more and see how all of those hit us in the future. My name is John Minton. That is...
I'm going to go Chance out of love.
That's a good one.
Out of love for
That's it.
Chance. It's a good one.
You know what? I like it. I'm not even... I love Chance. I'm not even going to correct you. I'm going to let you have it.
You're just going to let me have it? That's
I'm going to let
rare.
you have it. You know what? As an homage to Chance, as a gift to Chance, I'm going to let you have it.
I'll take it. I will absolutely take it.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking about. If you're still here, oh my gosh, that means you're book people. And in my book, that makes you the best people. Thanks so much for hanging out. This has been Talking Story.
Were you recording?
Oh my God, the red light's on. I hope